My name is Carrie Andersen. I graduated from UT in 2017 with a PhD in American Studies. My research focus was on media, technology, politics, security, and really focusing on drone warfare. And then after my PhD and where I am now, made a bit of a career pivot. I now lead user experience at Wayfair, the home goods website in the Boston area. I was a lecturer in American Studies for a year from 2017 until spring of 2018. And I taught 3 courses in the fall semester and 3 courses in the spring semester. And that's something that I really enjoyed because it allowed me to focus pretty much 100% of my work time on teaching and connecting with students and developing new ways to communicate information beyond just the sort of like graduate seminars that I had taught before. So that was a really wonderful experience that I just really valued having, especially right after graduating. And it allowed me to, again, like dig into the teaching fundamentals, and also gave me a little bit of time after I completed my PhD to really just kind of take a step back and start thinking about, where do I really want my career to go? What do I really want to be spending my time doing? Do I want to stay in higher education? Do I want to pursue careers outside of higher education? So it was a really good time to be in a more reflective state about my overall career goals going forward after that. Most of my job has focused on projects that center on customer loyalty. How do we get people to not only come to our site and make purchases for their home as new customers, but how do we continue retaining them? How do we continue bringing customers back? So when I was probably 3 or 4 months into my position, I had an opportunity to take a step back and think about, what has loyalty meant over time? How have we thought about loyalty and commerce and consumer retention even since, the 50s and 60s, when we started to see like the madman of America spin up the advertising industry. So I developed a presentation, essentially like a teaching seminar centered on the history of the Green Stamps loyalty program as a way to think more in depth about how we thought about loyalty at Wayfair. So I drew from my historical research background and was able to analyze and share insights about early mid-20th century advertisements for products and for this loyalty program, and was able to, again, kind of weave that into recommendations that could drive our on-site messaging. So that was a very clear, like one-to-one archival research, close analysis, visual analysis, and drawing conclusions about this set of data in order to share that out with the rest of my team and kind of expand how we thought about customer loyalty. One of the pieces of advice that I often give current graduate students is to never make your dissertation the sole thing that you come out of graduate school with. I was fortunate to have a lot of kind of on the side relevant experience in social media strategy and digital editorial work, which I think really gave me a leg up had I not had that experience. So I was able to speak to what, in sort of academic terms would be construed as service to the department, or these kind of extracurriculars that don't figure into the academic search as much. But those ended up being really valuable in my kind of case for my employment at Wayfair. In terms of translating the kind of laundry list of conference presentations and publications and all of those things that comprise a very lengthy CV, what I started with was really digging into the most important skills that I had to communicate to whoever would be hiring me. And of course, this was not the only job that I applied to. And when I was thinking about how to adequately communicate that, I started with the job descriptions, zeroed in on the top five skills that they listed as being requirements, and then cut out everything else from my CV that didn't necessarily speak to that. So if you look at my resume now, or the resume that I had when I applied for this position a few years ago, it did include some academic work, but only that academic work that was relevant to that specific position. And that meant that I had multiple versions of my resume floating around in job applications. Say yes to opportunities that come your way to develop other skills and develop expertise in other areas, whether that's working on the editorial board of a journal, working in digital communications, developing teaching expertise for people outside of the college age group, working part-time for the UT administration or a nonprofit, being a research assistant. There are so many opportunities out there to kind of diversify your skill set, and any sort of extra expertise that you develop can only help you in both being a more competitive applicant and also finding out if there are career paths outside of academia that would be more fulfilling for you or would be exciting to pursue. So yeah, in general, I think saying a mindful yes to opportunities that come your way is always helpful. Of course, we don't want to overcommit to things, but also don't box yourselves into what you think your career will be, because you just never know where it'll end up and where you'll end up. I would probably look for 3 different skills or evidence of 3 different areas of expertise. First, collaboration. Collaboration and working with others, working with groups, coming up with solutions together is the name of the game at an organization like ours, as well as many others outside of academia. So demonstrated abilities to do that and to come together to solve problems would probably be number 1 on my list. The second thing that I would look for has to do with research and analysis, which fortunately a lot of academics are superstars at already. But our positions require that people regularly spend time researching data, qualitative and quantitative, understanding what's happening in that data and what story it's telling us, and what we do with that information. So the ability to kind of draw conclusions from the data that's in front of us is a core part of the job, and something that I think is sort of a natural fit for a lot of people in academia. And finally, the last thing that I typically look for when hiring people is a demonstrated spirit of proactivity and initiative. Opportunities often don't just kind of float people's ways. You have to sort of own the work and drive for particular projects, advocate for projects. So being successful here does involve a bit of drive and proactivity, potentially more so than at other companies, which makes it a really exciting place to work because we are empowered to drive our own initiatives and to kind of initiate our own projects. So even if you're, a brand new hire, you can lead, you can push us in new directions, you can advocate for changes. So the ability to do that is something that I likewise think that academics are well prepared to do. And it's something that is always valuable to speak to in an interview setting or in a resume or cover letter as well.